I used to believe that every marriage had its storms, arguments, misunderstandings, days of silence. But in my marriage, the storms didn't come from life. They came from the people inside it. My name is Clara, 34 years old, married for 8 years to a man I once believed was the center of my world, Ethan. He wasn't perfect, but he was mine, or so I thought. It all started on a Thursday afternoon, the kind of day where nothing feels unusual until everything suddenly does. I was doing something boring and routine, sorting laundry, when Ethan's phone buzzed on the table. Normally, I never checked his messages, but he had been acting strange for months. Late nights at work, sudden weekend meetings, phone always turned face down. My gut had been whispering, but that day, it screamed. The notification wasn't from a friend. It wasn't even from his job. It was from his mother, my mother-in-law. She loved the dress, I told you she would. And don't worry, she used the card. I'll handle Clara. My heart stopped. She loved the dress? Who? And what card? Before I could overthink, Ethan rushed out of the house, late for another mysterious meeting. His mother's message kept burning in my mind. I needed answers. 2 hours later, I found myself standing in front of the largest luxury mall in the city. I don't know what pulled me there, intuition or desperation. But the moment I walked inside, I felt my chest tighten. That's when I saw her, my mother-in-law, Margaret, smiling brightly like she owned the world. Her perfectly styled silver hair bounced as she walked. She held 3 branded shopping bags in her hand, but she wasn't alone. Walking beside her, laughing, flipping her hair, adjusting her low-cut top, was a woman I had never seen before. A woman half my age, a woman too cozy, too comfortable, too confident. And Margaret was treating her like royalty. They walked into a boutique that cost more than my monthly salary. My curiosity twisted into suspicion, suspicion into dread. So I hid behind a rack of scarves and listened. "Sweetheart," my mother-in-law said warmly, "Ethan will love this one on you. You need to look perfect tonight." "Tonight? Why?" "For your dinner," the young woman giggled. "He said he'd take me somewhere fancy, now that you've helped me pick the dress." My heart shattered. Ethan. My husband, my mother-in-law, and this woman. My brain couldn't process it. She tried on a shimmering red dress, posing seductively in front of the mirror, the kind of dress I hadn't worn in years. Margaret clapped like a proud parent. "This is the one? Use my credit card." Clara never checks anything, trust me. My ears rang. My mother-in-law knew. She wasn't just supporting it. She was funding the affair. I stood frozen as the salesman swiped the card, Margaret's card, the one connected to our family account, because Ethan insisted she needed it for emergencies. Emergencies, yes. Buying clothes for her son's mistress must be an emergency to her twisted logic. I left the store before I collapsed. My knees felt weak, my stomach sick, but anger, burning, wild anger, kept me upright. If they wanted to play games, they had no idea who they were dealing with. I went home and opened our financial account. There it was, the charge, the exact amount. And dozens of others, restaurant bills, spa sessions, hotel bookings paid for by the same card. My mother-in-law wasn't just encouraging the affair. She had been funding it for months. My hand shook, but my mind was laser sharp. I called the bank. "Hello?" I said calmly. "I need to cancel a card on my account." They asked me which one. "Margaret Reynolds," I said. "Cancel it immediately." The customer service woman hesitated. "Ma'am, she is listed as an authorized user. Are you sure?" I closed my eyes, remembering the way Margaret had smiled at that girl, that mistress, as if she were already her daughter-in-law. "Yes," I whispered, "cancel it." "As you wish, ma'am." Click, it was done. For the first time in months, I felt something powerful move through me. Not revenge, not satisfaction. Control. The first step. 3 hours later, my phone exploded with calls. First from Margaret, then from Ethan. Then both at the same time. I didn't pick up. Finally, Margaret sent a message. I smiled. Another message came instantly. "And what will Ethan say when he finds out?" I typed back slowly, deliberately. "Ask him. I'm sure his friend already knows." 5 minutes passed. 10. Then Ethan called again. This time, I picked up. His voice cracked with anger. "Clara, what the hell did you do?" "I canceled the card your mother uses to fund your mistress," I said calmly. Silence. Then, "You don't know what you're talking about." "Oh, I do," I cut him off. "And trust me, Ethan, I've only just started. He exhaled sharply, not with guilt, with panic. And panic was exactly what I wanted. This wasn't just a betrayal. It was a war they started, and now they were going to learn. I played a win. I didn't sleep that night. My mind kept replaying the same image over and over. My mother-in-law, strolling confidently through an expensive boutique, with my husband's mistress, laughing, picking outfits, swiping a credit card I paid for. By morning, my anger had cooled into something sharper, clarity. If they thought I would remain silent, they had no idea who I really was. I walked downstairs to find my husband, Daniel, sipping coffee like nothing was wrong. His mother, Gloria, sat beside him, perfectly composed, scrolling her phone. "Good morning," Daniel said casually. I stared at them. "Did you enjoy your shopping yesterday?" Gloria's fingers froze mid-scroll. Daniel blinked slowly. "What shopping?" I placed my phone on the table and pressed play. The video I recorded played, Gloria handing clothes to Lily, the mistress. Lily posing in a mirror. Gloria swiping the credit card. The room went silent. Daniel's face drained of color. Where did you get this?" "From the mall," I said calmly. "I was there for work." Imagine my surprise. Gloria stood abruptly. "This is a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding," I repeated. "You used my card to shop for my husband's mistress." Gloria stiffened. "I didn't know she was his mistress." "You introduced them," I replied. Her jaw clicked shut. Daniel slammed his hand on the table. "Mom, what were you thinking?" "Why would you—" "Don't you dare put this all on me." Gloria snapped. "She told me she was your co-worker." I raised an eyebrow. "She was wearing your necklace in the video." "The one you said you lost." Gloria froze again. "I'll talk to Lily," Daniel muttered. "I'll fix this." "You think this is about Lily?" I asked coolly. "This is about betrayal, from both of you." Gloria folded her arms. "You're being dramatic." "It was just a card," I leaned back. "That card pays for your groceries, your medicine, your monthly spa membership, and the salon you go to every 2 weeks. If I'm dramatic, it's because I've been paying for everything." Daniel clenched his jaw. "We appreciate what you do." I cut him off. "No, Daniel, you take what I do." "That's different." Right then, my phone buzzed. "Bank alert. Your credit card has been used for an online purchase. $1,942. I almost laughed. "Another gift for Lily?" I asked, turning the screen toward them. Daniel snatched his phone, checking his banking app. "That wasn't me, I swear." "It was your mistress," I said. I recognized the brand. "She wore their shoes in your vacation photos." Daniel flinched. Gloria swallowed hard. She said you wouldn't mind." I stared at her. "She said? Or you didn't mind helping her spend my money because you prefer her over me?" Gloria opened her mouth, then shut it. I grabbed my purse. Daniel hurried after me. "Where are you going?" "To the bank," I said. "To cancel every card you and your mother have access to." Gloria gasped. "You can't do that?" "Watch me," she grabbed my arm. "You're punishing me because you feel insecure about your marriage." I stepped back. "No, Gloria. I'm protecting myself because I finally see the truth. You don't respect me. And neither does your son." Daniel grabbed his coat. "Let's talk first." "You can come with me if you want," I said. "But you won't like what happens next." The banker greeted me warmly. "Mrs. Collins, how can I help you today?" I placed the credit card on the desk. "I want this canceled immediately. And I want a new card with only my name on it." Daniel tried to interject. "She's being emotional." The banker raised a polite eyebrow. "Sir, the account is solely in her name. She can do as she wishes." Daniel's mouth snapped shut. "One more thing," I added. "I want a full spending report for the last 3 months." The banker clicked a few keys and printed 13 pages of transactions. I scanned the first few lines. Luxe Boutique, $2,200, Velvet Rose Spa, $700 Prime Jewelry, $2,900, Riverstone Cafe, 2 guests, $118 Dream Car Rentals, $680, all labeled, authorized by Gloria Collins, or worse, approved by Daniel Collins. My hands trembled, but not with sadness, with fury. Daniel watched the papers pile up, his face burning red. "Okay, I didn't realize it was this much." "You didn't realize?" I laughed. "You didn't care." The banker adjusted his glasses. "Mrs. Collins, would you like to remove the secondary users from your account?" I stared at Daniel. At Gloria's name printed on the page. At Lily's purchases hidden between the lines. Yes, I said firmly. Remove everyone. Daniel stepped back like I had slapped him. You're cutting us off? I looked him dead in the eyes. No, Daniel, I'm cutting myself free. As we walked out of the bank, Daniel's phone began buzzing nonstop. He glanced at the screen and turned pale. What is it? I asked. He swallowed hard. It's my boss, I frowned. Why would he be calling you like that? Daniel didn't answer. But when he picked up the call, when I saw the horror on his face, when I heard the words coming faintly from the speaker, I knew something bigger, much bigger, was happening. Daniel, his boss's voice said, you need to come in right now. It's about your wife, and your mother, and the money. My heart stopped. What money? I demanded. Daniel's boss answered, and his voice sounded almost afraid. The money someone stole under your wife's name. Daniel and I locked eyes. Everything I thought I knew was about to unravel. My hands were still shaking as I drove home. The store cameras, the receipts, the credit card notifications, every piece of it replayed in my mind like a cruel film. But what hurt the most wasn't the betrayal. It was the effort they put into hiding it. The strategy, the teamwork. My husband and his mother stood on one side, and me alone stood on the other. When I reached home, his car was already in the driveway. Good, I thought, let the storm begin. I walked in with the calmest expression I could muster. He was sitting in the living room, scrolling on his phone like nothing had happened. Like he hadn't spent the afternoon playing shop and smile with his lover and his mother behind my back. He looked up, finally. Took you long enough? I laughed softly. Oh, trust me. Today, I was exactly where I needed to be. He narrowed his eyes. What's that supposed to mean? I set my purse down and sat opposite him, leaning back casually. Where were you today? I asked. He blinked. Work. Work? Yes. All day? Yes. Why? His tone sharpened. What is this interrogation? I nodded slowly. Just wondering why your mother wasn't answering my calls while she was also supposed to be at work. For a moment, there was pure stillness. He swallowed, just once. A tiny motion, but enough to confirm everything. Why are you asking about my mom? He tried again. What did she do now? Oh, nothing, I shrugged. Just used my credit card to buy luxury bags for your mistress. His face drained of color. He opened his mouth, but before he could spin some ridiculous story, the front door opened. And there she was, his mother, holding 3 shopping bags, the very ones I canceled. She froze when she saw me. Her eyes darted to her son, then to me, then back to him. I smiled. Perfect timing. She tried to put the bags behind her leg, but the giant store logos practically glowed in the doorway. I pointed at the bags. Owe me an explanation. She stepped forward, chin lifted arrogantly. You had no right to cancel that card. I stood. That card is in my name. I pay the bills. And you used it to shop with your son's mistress. Don't call her that. She snapped. Oh? I raised a brow. Then what should I call the woman who has been meeting your son behind my back? My husband slammed his hand on the table. Enough, this is ridiculous. I stepped aside and pressed a button on my phone, and the store footage played, my husband holding the mistress's hand, my mother-in-law smiling and nodding as the girl tried on bags, all of them laughing together like one happy family. The room went cold. He lunged forward, trying to grab the phone. Where did you get that? Does it matter? I pulled it back. The truth is the truth. His mother muttered, It's not what it looks like. I stared at her. Then explain. Explain how it looks like you're sponsoring your son's affair using my money. For once, she couldn't speak. My husband raked both hands through his hair. I can explain. I cut him off. Oh good, story time. Let's hear the version where you're innocent despite being caught in 1080p. His eyes hardened. You're blowing this out of proportion. I laughed, too loudly. Out of proportion? You're cheating on me, with your mother's help. Using my bank account. I turned to his mother. And you? You raised a man who betrays his wife and then helped him get gifts for his girlfriend. What kind of mother does that? Her lips trembled in anger. She makes him happy, something you clearly don't. And there it was. The dagger she'd been holding for years. I nodded bitterly. So this is what you've wanted from the start. To replace me, she smirked. At least she treats him better than you do. My husband didn't even deny it. He just looked away. How long? I whispered. How long has this been happening? He didn't speak. So his mother answered for him. 6 months, 6 months. My breath left my lungs. And you planned this together? I whispered. The lying? The sneaking? The shopping? My mother-in-law tossed her chin. You were busy. You always are. And she gives him what he needs. I felt something break inside me, but I didn't collapse. I didn't cry. I straightened up instead. So you admit it, I said quietly. My husband looked up sharply. Admit what? That you want her. He didn't speak. His silence was the loudest answer. I nodded. Good. Because this makes things simpler, he frowned. Meaning? I walked to the hallway, grabbed a folder from my drawer, and returned. He stared. What's that? I placed it on the table. Divorce papers, his mother gasped. You ungrateful! I held up a hand. No, you don't get to speak anymore, she froze. My husband opened the folder with shaky hands. You already had these prepared, he whispered. Yes, I said. After seeing the card charges last month, I suspected something, his face twisted. So you were spying on me? I laughed. You cheated on me. He stared at the papers, stunned. I'm not signing this, he said finally. I shrugged. You will. His mother marched forward. He won't leave you. He made a mistake, a small one. Stop being dramatic. A small one? My voice rose. He humiliated me, stole from me, lied to me. And you helped him, she scoffed. You will forgive him. You always do. I smiled, a cold, sharp smile. Not anymore. My husband looked up, suddenly panicked. You can't end our marriage because of one stupid... I cut him off again. Oh, I'm not ending anything. His eyes widened. I'm destroying it. And then I handed him the final document, the one that made his face go pale. A bank statement, where every account, every joint asset was now frozen under my name. You used my money to fund your affair, I said softly. Now you will live without it. His mother lunged toward me. You can't do that. I already did. My husband's voice cracked. You froze the accounts? Everyone. His mother screamed. You evil woman. But I didn't flinch. I looked directly at my husband. You had 6 months to choose me, I said. You didn't. And now I'm choosing myself. I didn't sleep a single minute. All night I kept thinking of the shopping bags, the perfume, the matching bracelets, and my mother-in-law's face when she realized her credit card had stopped working. By morning, my anger had finally settled into something else. Strategy. At exactly 7:15 a.m., the front door opened. My husband walked in, yawning as if nothing had happened. He looked exhausted, but not from work. He didn't even greet me. He tossed his jacket on the sofa and headed toward the kitchen. Coffee? I asked, stepping behind him. He froze. He wasn't used to me sounding calm when I was angry. Sure. I poured it slowly, placed the mug in front of him, and folded my arms. Where were you last night, Daniel? He didn't look up. I told you. Meeting. Business meeting? Yes. I hope your mother enjoyed the meeting too, I added casually. He stiffened. Then finally, he looked up. Confusion, fear, guilt, all crossed his face in 1 second. What are you talking about? Oh, I said, opening my phone. You might want to explain this. I slid the screen across the counter, a screenshot of the boutique receipt, time-stamped and listing every luxury purchase they made. I had already requested a digital copy from the store. His eyes widened. It's not... Your mother and your mistress had a fun day out yesterday. On your money, or should I say, on your mother's card. He swallowed hard. How do you know that? Because I canceled the card the moment I saw them together. The color drained from his face. This time, he didn't even try to deny it. Listen, babe, I can explain. Don't call me babe. He closed his mouth. There was silence. Then he said something that made my blood boil. It's not a big deal. You shouldn't have canceled her card without talking to me. I stared at him in disbelief. Not a big. Daniel, your mother was shopping with your mistress. The woman you've been hiding from me. He looked away. I didn't want to tell you because I thought you'd overreact. My mother-in-law helped your affair. And you're telling me I'm overreacting? A muscle in his jaw twitched. Then he did what cowardly men always do. He shifted the blame. It was just a phase. Things have been weird between us. Oh? And your solution was to cheat? And take her shopping with your mother? He set the mug down loudly. I said I'm sorry. You didn't say anything until you got caught. He ran his hands through his hair. This is getting blown out of proportion. Then, As if fate wanted to make the moment worse, the front door opened again. His mother walked in. Her face was red with anger, fury radiating off her like heat. "You!" She pointed at me the moment she stepped inside. "How dare you cancel my credit card?" I was humiliated. I just stared at her. Humiliated? She? She didn't even care that she had been caught with her son's mistress. "That was my card," she snapped. "No," I said calmly. "It was your son's card. The one you begged him to give you because you needed help. And you chose to use it to take his mistress shopping." She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. For the first time, she looked scared. "You invaded my privacy," she shouted. "You destroyed my plans. You had no right." I tilted my head. "You mean your plans to help your son cheat on me?" she gasped. Daniel stood between us awkwardly, muttering, "Mom, stop." But she wasn't stopping, because she wasn't just angry. She was terrified. I finally understood why. This wasn't just about cheating. This wasn't just about betrayal. This was about money. My husband earned well, but I was the one who supported the house financially. My business was successful. His wasn't. His mother always hated that. The fact that I was the breadwinner. The fact that Daniel depended on me more than he depended on her. She had always resented it. And now she saw an opportunity. A mistress she approved of. A woman from her type of family. A woman she could control. "You don't belong in this family," she hissed at me. "You never did, and now—" I cut her off. "You're right, I don't." She blinked, confused. "Because this," I pointed at her, then at Daniel, "isn't a family. This is a circus." Daniel stepped toward me. "Wait, where are you going?" I grabbed my bag. "Away for now." "You're leaving?" His mother snapped, almost triumphant. I smiled. "No, I'm stepping out. Because the next part happens in my lawyer's office." Their smiles vanished. "And Daniel," I added while walking away. He looked at me, terrified. "You might want to check your phone." I stepped outside the house before he could say anything. Right on cue, I heard him yell from inside, "What?" "Why is my account frozen?" I smirked. Because while they were sleeping peacefully in their betrayal, I was spending the whole night preparing the first step of my revenge. And that step was only the beginning. I woke up the next morning with a clarity I hadn't felt in months. No more crying, no more confusion, no more begging for respect from people who clearly thought I was beneath them. Today, I would expose them. Not with screaming, not with drama, but with precision and karma. I dressed quietly, wore my hair in a neat bun, and walked to the living room. The house felt strangely empty. My husband hadn't come home. Again, his mother? Probably still complaining somewhere, but I had a plan now. I picked up the folder I had prepared the night before. Screenshots, videos, bank statements, and voice recordings. Everything neatly organized, like pieces of a puzzle about to lock into place. I headed straight to my husband's office building. The receptionist looked up in surprise when I entered. "Ma'am, Mr. Daniels hasn't—" "His boss asked to see me," I said calmly. She blinked, confused, but pointed me to the elevator. Because yesterday, after catching my mother-in-law shopping with her son's mistress, I had made a phone call to the one person who actually mattered in this story. My husband's employer, the man who had given him multiple warnings for unprofessional behavior. The man who hated scandals. The man my husband absolutely feared disappointing. When I knocked on the glass office door, Mr. Graham looked up instantly. "Ah, come in, Mrs. Daniels." His tone was sharper today, more serious. I stepped inside and placed the folder on his desk. He opened it, and his face shifted from curiosity to shock to cold anger. "What is all this?" he demanded. "Your employee," I said softly, "was sponsoring luxury shopping sprees for his mistress, using the corporate credit card." Mr. Graham froze. "And here," I continued, sliding the next document, "is proof he bribed contractors under your name." His jaw clenched. "And here," I said, handing him the last page, "is a recording of his mother threatening me if I told anyone." There was silence, a thick, heavy silence that felt like the ground before an earthquake. When he finally spoke, his voice was a dangerous whisper. "Mrs. Daniels, thank you. This explains everything." I swallowed the lump in my throat. "Everything?" He nodded. "He has been missing deadlines, lying about meetings, and misusing funds. We suspected something, but this—" he tapped the folder. "This is the final nail." I didn't smile. I didn't feel joy. I felt release. For the first time, the weight I'd been carrying didn't belong to me anymore. "It gets worse," I said quietly. He told his mother I was a burden, and she helped him hide his affair. Mr. Graham's eyebrows shot up. His mother was involved? I simply nodded. I didn't have the strength to repeat the humiliation. He stood, walked around the desk, and placed a hand on my shoulder, respectfully, professionally. "I'm truly sorry," he said, "but you did the right thing coming here." I exhaled shakily. "Is he here?" I asked. Mr. Graham shook his head. "No, but he's on his way. I called him an hour ago, told him it was urgent." My heart thudded. Perfect. We waited in silence. 5 minutes later, the door slammed open. My husband stormed inside. "Why the hell are you calling me like it's an emergency?" "I was in the middle of—" He froze when he saw me. And then he saw the open folder on the desk. His expression collapsed. What is this?" Mr. Graham folded his arms. "Sit." My husband obeyed like a scolded child. "What you've been doing is not only unprofessional," his boss said, "but illegal. Corporate card misuse. Kickbacks. Fraud and dragging your mistress into company events. Now this," he pointed at the folder. "This is beyond repair." My husband's face drained of color. He turned to me, eyes wide. You did this? You betrayed me?" My voice didn't shake. "You betrayed me first." Mr. Graham added coldly, "She didn't betray you. She protected us. And you should be thankful she came to me before law enforcement." My husband stared at me. Disbelief painted across his face as if he never expected his quiet, soft-spoken wife to fight back. He had underestimated me for too long. When Mr. Graham finished ripping into him, detailing every violation, every consequence, he delivered the final blow. "You're fired. Effective immediately. Security will escort you out." My husband's eyes widened in pure panic. No, please, my reputation, my clients." "That's not my problem," Mr. Graham snapped. My husband turned to me, voice cracking. "Honey, please, say something. Don't let him do this." I simply stood. "I didn't let anything happen, Daniel. You did." Then I walked out, leaving him calling my name as security grabbed his arms. As I left the building, my phone buzzed. Mother-in-law, of course. I let it ring. Then it rang again and again, until finally a text popped up. "What did you do? Daniel is saying you ruined his life. You fix this now." I stared at the message for a long moment, and then slowly I smiled. I typed back, "I only canceled a credit card." The rest, he destroyed himself. Seconds later, another message came, this one from the mistress. "You're insane. He told me you were pathetic." I almost laughed. I simply replied, "Then why are you so scared of me now?" No answer. Because they both knew. The quiet wife they mocked, the woman they dismissed, the person they assumed would break, had just turned the entire game around. And this was only the beginning, because tonight I would face my mother-in-law directly, and she had absolutely no idea that her world was about to fall apart too. The courtroom was silent, so silent you could hear the echo of someone shifting in their chair. I stood there, my palms steady, my breath controlled. For months, I had been fighting alone, against betrayal, lies, manipulation, and emotional torture. But today everything would end. The judge adjusted his glasses. "Mrs. Harper, you may continue." I nodded, raising my chin. "Your Honor, 3 months ago, I discovered that my mother-in-law, Mrs. Elaine Harper, was financing my husband's affair with our joint family funds. Not only that, she intentionally put me into debt, stole from my personal savings, and falsified documents." Gasps spread across the room. Elaine's attorney began sweating visibly. My husband, ex-husband now, Colin, sat stiffly, his jaw clenched so tight I thought his teeth might shatter. He kept shooting daggers at his mother, realizing only now how deeply she had dragged him into a mess of her own making. I tapped the remote. The courtroom screen lit up. Camera footage. Crystal clear, undeniable. Scene. Elaine slipping into my study, opening drawers, taking photos of documents, pulling out a flash drive, copying files, emailing them, deleting evidence, then smirking at the camera she didn't know existed. The judge leaned forward. "Mrs. Harper, this is you?" Elaine stood, panicked. No, that's fake. She edited." The judge slammed his gavel. "Sit down." She dropped back into her chair like her bones had turned to water. The footage kept rolling. Her voice was clear as day. "The girl is too soft. Once she's destroyed financially, Colin will have full control, and then he'll finally marry someone better." The courtroom erupted. My attorney spoke calmly, like a surgeon performing his final clean cut. Your Honor, what Mrs. Harper didn't know was that our client installed safety cameras after discovering financial discrepancies. She didn't want to accuse anyone without proof. Colin finally snapped. Mom, you ruined everything! You, Elaine hissed. I did it for you. That woman was ruining you. I looked at him, cold and steady. I didn't ruin you, Colin. I held you together. The judge lifted a thick stack of papers. After reviewing the evidence, the financial records, and the testimony from multiple witnesses, this court rules as follows. Everyone held their breath. Mrs. Harper is found guilty of financial fraud, identity theft, and unauthorized access to private accounts. She will receive... Elaine began sobbing hysterically. Colin buried his face in his hands. And furthermore, the judge continued, Mr. Colin Harper is found to have participated knowingly in marital financial abuse, coercion, and misappropriation of joint assets. As a result, my heart thumped. Justice. Real justice. All marital assets, including the family home, business shares, vehicles, and accounts, will be transferred to Mrs. Harper. My eyes widened. This Mrs. Harper, the judge clarified, pointing to me. Colin's mouth dropped open. Elaine let out a scream. The judge kept going. Mr. Harper will leave the residence immediately and will not contact his former wife under any circumstances except through legal counsel. Spousal support is granted to the plaintiff for 5 years. I was frozen in place. My lawyer whispered, You won completely. But the judgment wasn't over. The judge addressed me directly. And Mrs. Harper, given your mother-in-law's actions, you are granted full legal right to file civil damages. The court recommends it. I nodded slowly. I intend to. When the gavel fell, the echo felt like thunder. Colin chased after me. Wait, please listen. I stopped, not out of sympathy, out of closure. He ran his hand through his hair, frantic. I didn't know she did all that. I swear I was stupid, okay? I want to fix it. I stared at him. You want to fix it? With what, Colin? I gestured around. You have nothing left, not money. Not a home, not a marriage. And not me. He grabbed my arm, gently, for once. I loved you, I swear I did. No, I stepped back. If you loved me, you wouldn't have laughed with your mistress while using the money I earned. His face collapsed, and you definitely wouldn't have let your mother try to destroy my life. He swallowed hard, trembling. I messed up. But can we start over? I almost pitied him. Almost. No, Colin, we can't start over. You ended everything the moment you let someone else walk into our marriage. His eyes filled with shame. You're going to regret this, he whispered. I smiled softly. No, Colin, you are. I turned and walked away, and for the first time in years, I felt weightless. My new home was bathed in warm morning sun, a quiet villa I now owned entirely. My garden was alive again, my life blooming with it. My attorney forwarded me an email. Subject, settlement approved. Funds transferred. Amount, $890,000. That was the civil damages case, the one the judge recommended. Elaine was now selling her jewelry, her antiques, even her retirement home to pay for what she'd done. Colin was living in a rented basement apartment. He had lost his job after the scandal. His mistress left him within weeks. I sipped my tea. Justice wasn't loud. Justice wasn't dramatic. Justice was quiet, thorough, and so complete it almost felt poetic. I looked at my reflection in the window, stronger, calmer, wiser. I had survived betrayal. I had defeated manipulation. I had rebuilt my life, not because of revenge, but because I deserve peace. Sometimes the people who try the hardest to break you are the very reason you rise higher than you ever imagined.